This is today's live on Equa Television International. Thank you for joining us. And remember, we are live on YouTube and Facebook. So just do well to click and then join us on today's conversation. I'm Samuel Solomon, and I'm not doing this alone. I have Prudence Brugger and then Joyce Jakarta.
Hi.
Hello. Good morning.
It's just looking so beautiful, you know?
Thank
looking takeaway.
I concur. Don't be taken away. Don't allow yourself to be taken away.
Thank you.
Yeah, so how are we doing this morning?
Great.
It's great.
Yeah, today we are going to talk about a topic that maybe I think the agriculturalists or farmers, you know, will easily relate. But we're going to look at it in a general angle, and then we narrow it down to how it affects different sector and aspect of life. And this topic that today we're going to discuss is environment. How good is your environment, you know, to grow your crop? How good is your environment to thrive in your chosen career? You know, how got it, and then see how together we will talk and then see how we will help someone out there. And we believe at the end of the show, definitely, somebody will get something. Environment. Can we just lay just the normal layman definition of what environment is?
Okay, when you talk about an environment, most people, when they hear the word, they just feel, where am I coming from? Where my house is based, like that's my environment. Clean your environment, keep it clean and all of that. So I remember back then in primary school, they would give us this assignment: name or list 5 things in your environment. So you go home, you not allow your parents to sleep until you're in the environment, but you cannot mention the things there. Mommy, like, they must answer you so that you write it down and then joyfully go and submit to your teacher like you did the assignment yourself. So environment is when you talk about an environment, it's everything that is around us. For a layman, an environment is everything that is around us, and it can include living and non-living things.
Yeah.
So everything around you is your environment. Whether you are at home now, or you are in the farm now, or you are in the office now, or you are in a meeting, wherever you are, everything that is around you is your environment.
True. Everything around you is your environment. And that actually reminded me of a time where every topic you're talking about in school, most of the topics you're talking about in school, it would always remind you personal and environmental hygiene. Keep your environment clean. If you don't keep your environment clean, you are prone to diseases and all that. And that is very true.
And you know, at primary level, we sing those things.
Exactly.
And
so
then
it sticks.
You just sing them. I'm just wondering how we were just...
That's just the other one. They say cleanliness is God next to godliness. So you do all that, reminding you constantly that you're supposed to take care of your environment. And when they're telling you about your environment, they're listing the houses around you, the plates that you use, the cups you use, the people you interact with, the animals you see around you. That's when they begin to talk about domestic animals and wild animals. They talk about everything. That's basically just the whole creation.
The animals that are around you. When they give you assignments, right? Or mention the animals that are around you. Lion. You just joyfully put lion, elephant, and you just go and see yourself draw your head in big
And
ears.
you'd be like, but animals now.
And they're around you.
You know? Yeah.
So basically, that's what we're talking about. Everything that you see or not see, because even the air that you breathe is your environment. The skies you're looking at, your environment. The macroorganism, the microorganisms, all the organisms that you find, they are all your environment.
You find
it's
water.
everything. It's a
Earth.
complex compound.
So we can say living and non-living,
Yes.
non-living elements, you know. and their effects, and that influence, human life. We can just say that, that means they have effects, to our own life.
Yeah, mentioning that, there's actually something called the food chain. So you see, there's the plants, they grow, then the animals eat it. Sometimes you eat the plants as well and you eat the animals. And then everything is like a circle. Somebody, at the end of the day, you die, you become manure. The plants grow, and continues. So like everything you do is a circle, so it definitely affects you as a human being. I'm looking at it from the angle of biology. So it affects you biologically, and there are other things that your environment does as well to affect you in general.
Okay, now we have established that, and I believe this will just set the agenda, the pace for the discussion. And like we say, we're encouraging you to join this conversation and then tell us the environment that you are, and then how positively or negatively where we are. There's definitely a positive or a negative effect, that is coming to us. And sometimes it depends on the way we react to the environment, and that's when we get. I just want us to see spreading environment, not looking at physical things around us and how they affect us. I just want us to look at environment in maybe working place. Working place, you can have some things that are surrounding you that are not just physical. You understand? That deals with the mindset. You are in a working place. You will hear this, that people are saying the environment is toxic for me. So I can't do this, I can't do this. The environment is irritating. You hear you hear such words, and then to some it affects them negatively. To some it gives them the reason, to thrive and stand out. We mentioned in the course of discussion, I think in one of the episode, we talk about, how where you're coming from will just influence you simply because there's a way they tag the particular environment. For instance, they said you're coming from Genta. Genta Adamu is a location, in Plateau State. Some call it ghetto. So they believe that that environment is not an environment that you're supposed to bring up a family. And then you ask yourself why. There are reasons, there are factors. They believe people around there, they live their life carelessly. They don't care about certain things in life which they feel is necessary for human beings to take cognizance that will improve the environment and even the people living in it. So that kind of mindset, that kind of definition, that kind of how would I put it? Like something that you have tagged, and then you still have people, and in those places, you find people that are still thriving, and you still find people that are using the environment as an excuse, and they remain where they are, and they are behaving the way they are behaving. I just want us to look at that angle, and then we will find solution of how people can use their environment and then make positive impact to the environment where they are coming from and to the north.
Well, whether we like it or not, the environments where we live or we are surrounded with influence us. You'll recall that I said from the beginning, our environment is everything that is around us. And that is why with the continuous stay in a particular environment, sooner or later you see yourself aligning yourself with the particular behavior. Like you grow up seeing it and you learn it, you imbibe the culture and you live. That's why some people, they will grow and move out of a particular environment and they'll say, I can't stay here because the culture, the norm is not what they are used to. They are already adapted to the environment where they are coming from and they can't. The story was told of a woman that traveled out of Nigeria, and then when she got to the United States of America, like people are just living on their own. Unlike our culture here, that we are so relational. You wake up in the morning, you greet each other, I hope you slept well, and you check after each other. But this one, you just wake up, everybody's just up and about, nobody cares about anyone. And so she was wondering, like, what kind of life is this? Why are people living like this? She came back. Barely a month, she came back, and she was supposed to stay for a longer period of time. And when she came back, people were asking, Mama, why did you come back? Mom, why are you back? And she said, she cannot stay there. Everybody's hi, hello, that nobody will ask you, how are you? Like, so that she cannot stay. She had already adapted to the system in her own immediate environment, and it affected her when she didn't felt like, no, it affected her, so she cannot stay. She had to come back. So you see a lot of times, even in our own context here, we are being defined by where we come from. That is why when you say you're coming from a particular environment, people will say, no, you don't even look like it. Well, because they're expecting, because of the majority of how behaviors, like having seen people that come from that particular location act in a certain way. When you say you're coming from there and then you have a different attitude, they will, no, you're not from that place. Even your culture, your tribe, there's a way people will tell you that you don't look like Itangale or whatsoever.
You just had to use that language.
Yes, I had to. So you cannot intimidate me. I'll use it again and again.
Okay.
You are free.
I'm free to do. So people will ask you and say, you don't look like it, because they're expecting. By virtue of consistency, that attitude, like you become the environment where you come from.
Yes.
How you greet, how you respond to issues, how you behave. You see some people, why would you meet some people, you see them, they prostrate while they are greeting. The environment they came from. Some people, they just bend their head. They grew up and found that. When you ask some people, how did you learn that? They cannot even tell you, because they grew up seeing it and then they imbibed that. So whether we like it or not, consciously or unconsciously, we are like the output of where we come from. You spoke about earlier when you were introducing the show, asking the question that what kind of environment are you? Can you like plant in your environment? Or you cannot. The environment that you can sow, and like let's use plants for example. There are places you can't plant and expect that it's going to grow green. And then there are particular environment that you will plant and then it will grow. So what kind of environment are you in right now? It doesn't have to be where your house is located. No. Where do you spend most of your time? How is it affecting you? Is it positively or negatively?
And Joyce, that's why I want to add that I think our environment has grown to what we ingest rather than just what we see. Because a lot of people, I've met someone who acts a lot like Disney cartoons. And I was beginning to wonder, like, why are you always as if you're a cartoon character? Why are you always behaving like that? And she tells me, like, she spends a whole lot of time watching cartoons. So that's what she's ingesting. That's what is in her head. It has become her environment. So she begins to adapt to it and behave in that angle. I'm taking it like that. I'm seeing it that way because, for instance, I spent a number of years in Lagos. So when I came back to the north and I was going to school, some people met me in school and were like, "Are you Yoruba?" I said, "No, I'm not Yoruba." I said, "But you behave like them. You have a certain look that they have." I'm like, "No, I'm not Yoruba." Like, "But did you stay in a Yoruba land?" That was the next question they asked me. So the fact that I stayed for a number of years in this environment, I really adapted some of their culture. And there are sometimes that I go to the market and I'm talking to people in a certain form of Hausa and they're like, "Sokoto ko Zampara." they're asking you whether Sokoto or you're staying in Zamfara. I'm like, no, I'm not from any of that state. Like, what the Hausa you're speaking is like them. So my environment at that moment I had already ingested my environment. That's why I said sometimes your environment is not just what you see, rather what you're ingesting, what you're taking in. That becomes your environment.
Very true, Prudence. It doesn't have to be just the physical setting. There are things you expose yourself to. Like, people behave to both physical and social settings. And that is why when you came back from Lagos, people are asking if you are Yoruba, you adapted to the social setting there. Maybe the way you greet, maybe the way you respond to issues, you adapted to even the physical setting. And there are some environments that are virtual. When you spend your time on your phone, like you're adapting to the community. We belong to different groups on Facebook, WhatsApp, and when you're always there, you're already adapting. There are different people, like different things taking place there, and then you are also involved. You're already adapting to it. But the key thing is that you adapting to that environment can be positive or negative.
Very true.
There are people, like you said, from the same location that has been tagged, maybe with a negative name. You see people coming out negative while all others positive. Now, beyond that physical environment, maybe they have a setting in their home or another location where they spend more time, even though the house is there, but they spend more time, maybe in another friend. They fight with that norm in that environment.
They are being deliberate.
That is why they are different. And others that you see them easily follow suit is because of peer pressure, or maybe they just, like, they weren't deliberate about not adapting. Like, I've stayed in an environment where, like, virtually everybody, you see young people, one of the attributes, people just start smoking, drinking, living some kind of lifestyle. But for you not to do that, you have to be deliberate, because it becomes like, it's a normal thing now. So,
because that's what is obtainable.
So why are you taking it as something
so
serious?
you have to be really deliberate.
Yes.
So I want people to understand that that environment that you're spending your time, whether physical, virtual, or is a social setting, it has impact on you. So can you begin to check what is taking most of your time? Sometimes it's even your set of friends. You spend time together, they form your environment. So what are the things you're discussing? If you're always gossiping, for example, you're always with your circle of friends, sooner or later, that will become your own attitude. Wherever you go, the first thing that you'll be known for is gossip. When you're always slandering you and your peers, it becomes like, because their environment, it affects your behaviors. And anywhere you go, whether things are working or they are not working, what you want to do is just to slander people. And when your own community, your own environment are people that are highly intellectual and they are there to push you, to motivate you toward growth, then you will see yourself growing.
Yes.
And that is why people will say you are the fifth of the people you keep around you. If you have 4 thieves as friends, you will become the 5th one. If you have 3 gossipers as friends, or 4 gossipers, you become the 5th person. There is no way. There are people that will tell you, me, I know myself. I can stay with these people and I will be different.
And people like that say that because they don't understand that the more you take something in, the more you're surrounding yourself with certain things. It's gradually up one morning and you just become like them. You grow
gradually
to become like them. They're sowing a seed, and this seed continues to germinate. So they've sown the seed. Okay, the first time you're meeting them, you people have this kind of conversation. They've sown the seed. Tomorrow you come and sit down with them. They've watered it. Next tomorrow they put fertilizer. So you continue to grow and you have no clue that you're growing to become exactly like they are. And then at the end of the day,
even more than them.
Or more than them.
Some cases.
So
the chief commanding officer.
So if it is good that they sowed, you'll become excellent. If it is bad that they sowed, I don't have to say
You
it.
become bad.
And, you know, if you look at our topics, the way they are coming, they are building, you know, on each other. And the whole idea is to bring out the best, you know, out of someone that is struggling. Possibly you are in an environment that is being tagged and then you know yourself that, even the environment is affecting you, and you're struggling with that. Like, what are you supposed to do? Stop, because some people will just automatically draw the line and said, that's just it. Because some people, if you engage them in a conversation, they will be like, well, the environment we find ourselves, and there's nothing
You can do
that
about
is that part that is the issue, that there's nothing
we can do about
it. Like, seriously.
That's how I came and met them. I can't do anything.
Yes, and some people will tell you, this is my family, this is how we are, and there's nothing I can do about it. And then you see these things that are happening. The devil is very crafty. He knows that God put in place everything for us to enjoy it. But he's always finding a way in such that, it would give a man excuse, of failing. And if you look at it, everything that man need, God has provided everything, like with extra. If you remember in the Garden of Eden, even the stream, God added extra, and he said in his word that in case it dries. And I begin to wonder, how can God create something like more than one, and then he said, this one I'm creating and leaving it as extra, to tell you that he has given you everything in disposal, like everything that you need, everything. And then this environment, the setting is in such a way that it will motivate us to bring out the best, that God wants us. Because anything you do, people are expected to see the replica of God's greatness in you. How you treat your environment affects you. And if you look at it, yes, there's natural and there is man-made. The devil is helping the man, not all though, to create an artificial environment that will give people impression that that is the original plan of God. That is why you create a prostitute environment. You create...
They don't call them prostitutes anymore, it's sex workers. It's buttressing on the fact that the devil makes it look so attractive.
Yes, and then all sort of environment, community, that's how they put it. And there's a way they create it, and they defend themselves, and they make it look as if, they have a fundamental right, to go about what they are doing, which is against God's plan. And, we're trying to say it is possible for you if you are struggling with that. That's not where God designed for you to remain. You can get out of it and create your own positive environment. And that's why you'll find out some people, they will say, you said you come from so whatever. Say yes. They will start thinking, okay, this and this and this and this and this are poor. This and this and this, they are not doing well when it comes to this. Why is it that you are different?
I've heard something like that. Some people came to a family house, and they're like, and somebody introduces them like, this is Reverend, because my dad is a Reverend. And they're like, this is Reverend Williams, and this is his house. And somebody's like, so a pastor can own this kind of house? So in their own environment, it is stereotyped that pastors are just waiting for what the church will give them, and that's what they survive on. They don't have people who are intellectual enough to use what they have gotten, utilize it, and make life better for themselves and their family. So in that environment, that's what they had already seen. For them, that was their environment. So coming to a different environment, it was like a cultural shock to them. And that's what affects a whole lot of us. There are a lot of us that, because of the circle that we've covered ourselves in, we're not opening our intellect to see better ways. See, when God created the heavens and the earth, and he told man to be fruitful and multiply. I feel that was him giving him the mantle of creation. So you're supposed to open your mind and utilize these environments that he has provided for us to make life better for yourself. And that's what the devil is now beginning to use, what you were speaking about earlier on. That's what the devil is now beginning to use. That's that mantle that God has given us to create. After the fall of man, the devil has now, he's now trying to steal that opportunity that God has given to man to create, to recreate and make the world a better place. And he's making the world his own place.
And then if environment, based on your definition, is everything around you, then plus you inclusive.
Yes. Yeah, your environment too.
And you are supposed to affect your environment. How are you affecting your environment? I think that's another thing that we should think always. Wherever you find yourself in that environment, how are you affecting the environment? Are you affecting the environment
or you're
positively?
allowing the environment
To
affect
affect
you
you.
negatively?
Yes.
I have, okay, something happened back then in school. People have this impression about, well, because of what always turns out of a particular environment, people just have that build up in their mind that anything that is coming out there must be like this, because maybe they've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people that are like that. So while we're in school and we were just discussing, and she's not from this state, these people that don't know anything, like it's always the people that are from this particular place that are highly intellectual. And don't worry now, at the end of the end of the semester, you see results now, like we are the ones that are always topping. So it was more like an election period, student unionism and all of that. So these people that don't know anything, like we are going to be the ones that are going to take the leadership position. And I was challenged. When I heard that, I was like, God, I'm from this place that these people are saying, like stereotyping and all of that. I'm not like that. And I don't have to tell them that I'm not like that. But I know they will feel the impact and eventually they will know. So I decided to contest as well. Haven't seen need. So, and when we got talking, of course, you're going to be meeting with people and also expressing yourself why you want to. And after the first time we addressed and everybody was wild and clapping, I said, okay, that's like, in my mind, that's an assignment for you to go and sit and talk. And after a while, after the result came out for the election, I actually won, and they came and said, we didn't know now. You don't look like somebody that is from, I have to look like it. That's a stereotype. So you don't allow where you come from, even if that environment is your physical environment, where your house is, let me use that, is known for a negative output or behaviors like that. Don't allow it define you, that when you two grow, you have to be like that. You can choose to stand out. Who are you in Christ? What does the Bible say about you? That is what you should align yourself with, not you aligning yourself with a negative. That's how our area is. That's how I was brought up in this. You know, people who pride themselves that that's how everything they met, they cannot change it. You asked the question, what impact are you making? What different? How are you trying to stand out? How would you tell people that no, everybody's not the same? People have so stereotyped us that we have believed in it. In fact, even amongst us, we feel that no, nothing good can come out. I recall one time that I went to check results. So the person that was there, the exam officer, was also from where I came from. And I just went based on the position I was of, my leadership, student unionism and all of that. And when he gave me the result, I needed like the best 3 CGP, like because an award was to be given to them. So when I went, he was shocked that my name was Amo. And then he said, choice. Like, you don't even look it, you don't. I was happy in my mind because it will break that stereotype.
Yes.
That I'm from this place doesn't mean that, change your mindset. It doesn't mean that my environment, even if you have encountered 5-10 people from where I come from that have negative behavior, I shouldn't be there. Break that circle. Even if it's within your family that people think that nothing will work out, be that one person that will bring about the change. Like, ask yourself, this was one of the messages in one of our service. The pastor says, is your environment, are your immediate community happy that you're existing? Are they happy? Or you are just also aligning yourself with the negative behavior? What impact are you making? This is something you should ask yourself. As much as we know that our environment have influence on us, what are you deliberately doing to break away from the circle? I've seen people that they will tell you, I don't allow friends choose me. I choose my friends. Why? Because of the power of environment. They have understood that, see, your environment has high effects on your behaviors and how you think. And so they will tell you, my friends don't choose me. I choose them. And people like that, because of how deliberate they are, they don't get easily affected by the negative impact because they know, yes, it exists, but I don't want to be part of it. I'm aligning myself with what God says I am and my own values and what I hope to achieve. I recall at one point, I traveled out of Jos and I was somewhere and the person said, have a glass of this, take this. I said, no. They said, okay, let's go to so place. I said, no. Are you not a Jos girl? Like that was, are you not a Jos girl? That's another stereotype.
Yeah.
You get? So
that's like, how Jos girls behave? The question, like.
Environment. So that's their own personal encounter with maybe 1 or 2 or 3 people. I said, I'm from Jos proudly. But that, you cannot just, like, conclude based on your experience with 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 people. Yes, your impression can change now that it is not all the people that are from Jos that are like this. So let's be deliberate. Maybe you've allowed yourself to be influenced by your environment negatively. You can cut out of it. We've seen a lot of people that, yes, they grew up in some kind of negative attitude, but coming to realize that no, I'm not born, like their knowledge coming to Christ, seeing that this is what God has designed for them. They broke out from that chain of negative influence that the environment had on them. They grew up seeing all their peers doing the same thing, maybe smoking, drinking alcohol and all of that. But at some point they broke out. Some even go to the point of changing their environments. So when you notice that environment has negative effect on you, change it. So it doesn't mean that because that's where you found yourself and it has affected you, you have started living the life that is there, which is negative. So you have to die in it. No. Our God is a God of second chance. He loves us so much. He cares for us. His mercy is new every morning. So don't allow yourself to just wallow inside that negative behaviors. Cut out from it. It's not late. That you're hearing us this morning, it means that God wants you to break out of that negative environment. There are a lot of positive environments around us. Like, we can make the positive environment. What do you spend your time on? Like, what community are you engaged with on your phone? What about your immediate environment? Who are the people you spend most of your time with? In case you don't know, it has a way of influencing your behavior. Like she said, you sow, you water, consciously or unconsciously. Haven't you been so close to somebody that you start seeing yourself talking like the person?
Yes.
Like, unconsciously you start talking. I've had instances where people tell me, why are you talking like this person? In fact, there was a time that I was told that you opened the show like Prudence. I was always with Prudence, you get. So unconsciously, when I had that, I say, no. Yeah, she opened the show beautifully, but I am me, you get. But being in the same environment, but I'm glad that it was a positive one.
Yes.
When I went to I stayed in a particular place outside Plateau State for maybe 1 year, and when I came back home, and they say, your tongue. I'm beginning to talk like the people from that place. And
I thought I was mentioning earlier when you speak in Hausa and you're like, are you from Sokoto or you're from Zamfara? Or Kano? Because they're already hearing the intonation.
I spoke and they told me that You're already speaking like them. Inakwana. I did not call anywhere.
Inakwana.
Inakwana. Kinda. Like, are you back? So when I came back, and they said, you're already speaking like them. Oh, it's a beautiful one that people can actually identify you and where you're coming from. Positive one. Well, it wasn't a negative behavior. And you know, most times because of the, like you said, they ask, are you from Zamfara, Sokoto? It is because of the fact that their language has affected their accent, and that is their identity. So when you stayed there for a period of time, you're beginning to imbibe that identity. I was almost changing my local government and my tribe, because when I came back, I was literally, I'm trying to go, like, how was I saying it before? But because of how I've spent time with those people, in fact, I was already learning their language. So, well, I'll tell you after the show the language. Like, I'm so proud that, yes, I could at least greet, I could say thank you, I could say certainty. It was a positive one as far as I'm concerned, you know. So let's be mindful of our environment. Yeah,
you talked about you cutting off. Is just, and you remember earlier we talked about farmers. We say they can relate with the environment. The farmer who can tell you that, no, in this environment, this and this and this will not grow here. And that's why you find out you grow beans in a particular environment. You grow yam in a particular environment. There are certain trees that doesn't grow in a particular environment. Who are you? Did you define yourself? And then fit into the environment that you are. If you're able to say, this is who I am, just like the farmer will identify environment and the kind of soil that will be suitable for the crop that he intends to sow and then get dividend out of it, then I think you should be conscious too. Because if you are conscious, then you will know that, yes, I want to grow, because growth is essential in everything that we do. Yes. And we talk about growth one time, you remember. For you, just give birth to a child, and then 2-3 years, the child is still crawling, you know. Mentally, physically, it will affect even the parent, because they know that something is wrong, because that's not God's original plan. But it's just that at that moment is a challenge. That's when you will see that people start looking for help, because they know there's a problem. Can you identify that problem and said, okay, yes, I am this? Identifying by defining who you are. Like you say, creating your own environment. That time that those people were saying, those people from this place, they are this, they are that. Do you know immediately it became your motivation?
It was a challenge for me out there.
Because immediately you just create an environment for yourself, and you just pull yourself out without you even announcing.
Yes.
But later, it was the result.
It was the result
that announced you.
See,
you have been deliberate.
The thing is about being deliberate. I've heard of a story of this family where 2 boys grew up in a family where their father was always beating the mother, and they saw that. And both of them grew up, got married, and one of them beat up his wife, beat her black and blue. And people were asking him, why are you doing that? And he says, that's the only thing he grew up saying. He grew up saying that if you don't beat your wife, then you're not man enough. And then the other one, they come to his family and they see everything is just organized, their life, they're moving smoothly. When he's angry with his wife, he takes a chill pill first, then they come back and discuss it. And people asked him, why do you treat your wife this way and your brother treats his wife the other way? He says, I grew up in a family where I saw my father beat my mother, and I saw what he did to my mother, and I don't want that to happen to any other person's child. That's why I can't raise my hands to my wife. That's 2 different people in the same environment, but 2 different results.
Just to add another story which is similar before you conclude, sorry. This other one, 2 boys, they grew up in the same family. Their dad was always drinking to stupor, always been like brought back home drunk. And the other one tore the same path. You grew up, he started drinking, and eventually, like, that was his own lifestyle. And the other brother grew up detesting anything toxic, intoxicating. And when he was also asked, the other one, he said, he grew up seeing his dad drink, so that was the right thing to do. And the other one said he always saw how his father behaves wherever he's drunk, and how that sometimes people have to just come and bring him home, or sometimes they find him in the gutter and all of that, and he doesn't want to be like that. And that is why he was deliberate. Anything intoxicating, he doesn't go close to.
Yeah.
Being deliberate.
So this is two different illustrations of how two individuals from the same environments gave out two different results. And that's because one was deliberate not to imbibe the negative that he saw in his environment, while the other accepted it wholeheartedly. The other one was trying to find out what can make this experience positive in my life, so that I will not continue to live in regrets and pains. Because the truth of the matter is that at the end of the day, for instance, that man beat up his wife to death, and both children saw this. They will continue to feel it in their bodies. They will continue to live in regrets daily. And if, for instance, the brother, at the end of the day, after he beats his wife too, he ends up killing her, he will live in regret. And that's what your environment has. That's like, I'm just looking at the chronic result of your environment impacting you negatively. And a lot of us have allowed our environment to creep into us and make us terrible human beings. You're rude to I can't explain it. And when they ask you, you say it's because you're just proud of yourself. You're being you. You don't care what somebody has to say.
That's who I am, and I can't change it.
Yeah, yes. And you hear people are so, like, they are priding in some negative behaviors, like people are complaining about a certain behavior, and it's not one person. Maybe one person, you just say you don't care.
Yes.
But 2, 3, 4, 5, the same thing. No, it means you should go back, sit down. God did not create you to be arrogant or rude or disrespectful. No, our God was humble. He washed the feet of his disciple. Is your attitude aligning with his?
Humble
We're talking
till
about a Christ-like attitude. And somebody will tell you, I don't care. That is who I am. If you cannot tolerate me like that, then leave it. No, that's not who you are created to be. It should be something of concern that when people complain about a certain behavior, go and sit down and reflect. Think about it. Where do I need to change? Sometimes we look at our life and things seem not to be working out, and you think that, no, you didn't. Which sin did I commit? I did not fornicate now, but now I did not commit adultery. Did I kill anybody? There are some little things that you just overlook, and that might be the stumbling block to even your success. Until we imbibe that attitude of being Christ-like, then we'll continue to allow our environment to affect us negatively. Like I said, I've seen people that grew up in an environment where it's just tagged, nothing good will come out from it, but they were deliberate about pulling themselves from that circle. I am one, too, that decided I'm going to break out from a circle. People have already stereotyped where I'm coming from. Like, oh, a lady cannot just go to school. And or they will say, you just end up like this, just giving birth at home. Some will just say, people from this place are not intelligent, and all of that. You can break from that circle. Don't allow the environment define you. The scripture already say, I am wonderfully, fearfully and wonderfully made. I am royalty. The person, my father is the King of Kings. So why not align myself? What are his attributes? He was humble. He was this. Tall in his own path. Don't allow your environment make you to be arrogant. Your environment make you to be disrespectful. Your environment make you to just have, oh, that's how everybody is now, so I too, I have to just relax. No, you don't have to. And then you have to be careful. You have to be watchful of your environment. The things you expose yourself to. Like I said, you might not know, but consciously, unconsciously, you become that environment. But if you are deliberate, you sometimes I say this, when people are like, maybe you're getting close to me and I notice something that is like, I will draw the line and make sure I supervise it, that you don't cross it. Why am I doing that? I don't have to fight you or anything, but I don't want that behavior to affect me. I don't want to, like, unconsciously begin to learn. Like I said speaking like the way the people where I stay with speak. I did not plan to speak like that, but because that was what I was surrounded with, I became that. Like I started talking like that. Like I said, that was a positive one for me. But the one that I'm seeing a negative attitude and I will allow it, no, I won't permit it. I will draw the line, I will supervise it that you don't cross it. So there are people around us that we're already seeing that these things are negative and their tendency that it will affect us. Draw the line. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not a sin. It's not. The Bible says, guard your heart with all diligence.
Yes, and there are a whole lot of more advices from the Bible, like, blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked. Then there's also the one that says, do not conform to the pattern of this world.
Romans.
There are a lot more like it that give you reasons to stay away from the world and be unique and be aligned to God. Because they said your environment, there's another part that says bad company corrupts good manners. That's when he said, then there's another one that said, I'm trying to get that, because the world is evil. What was he talking about? Something about be careful how you live. Be careful how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity. So your environment is an opportunity for you. You're to make the most of that environment. You're to make sure that you take out the positive from your environment and give it back positive. See, the thing is that you can be the first person to change your environment. There was a period of time that the black Americans could not sit in the same table with the white Americans, but today is no longer like that, because the black Americans, one person from amongst them stood up and said, this is wrong. There was a time in this world where a woman cannot stand up and speak because they said a woman's voice should not be heard. But today, women, ladies like me and Joyce are here speaking to people and they are listening. That's because one woman said she's not going to be confined by her environment. There are a whole lot of examples like that. There's Ben Carson coming from the environment he was and becoming one of the best neurosurgeons ever made in this world. You're moving. See, the thing is that if you don't let your environments make you or mar you, instead, you make your environment. If you are able to make your environment, then you would have more, I'm trying to get the word, you would have more positive impact in your life and in the life of your environment. You don't just allow your environment to make you who you are not supposed to be. And that's why we spoke about purpose, you know, to find your purpose in life as well. When you're dealing with your environment, know who you are, know why you are here. Identify yourself, know your purpose. I said it in a simpler language and I want to be complex for those that want to hear big words. Yes, identify yourself, know your identity and know your purpose. For simpler people, know who you are and know what you're here for. That's the whole thing. If you don't, your environment can just impact you in numerous
If you just carry you like this, dribble you.
And that's when people will say you're going with the wind.
You just become like a chaff that the
wind blows
wind
away.
will just blow anywhere, you know. Joyce, briefly.
Well, the truth is that people behave to both physical and social setting. What is your physical setting? What is your social setting? I think people out there have the right answers, but ensure that your physical and your social setting influence you positively, and ensure you also influence that environment positively.
Very true.
Thank you, beautiful ladies,
Always a
for
pleasure.
doing this with me today. And for viewers out there, thank you for allowing us to do this together. You know, your environment can affect you positively or negatively. But first of all, you have to define yourself, know who you are. And then don't forget, as a Christian, we are called to make impact. Jesus have set the standard. Are you influencing your environment as a Christian? Because that is the reason why you are called. So go out there, make a positive impact in your environment. Thank you, and let's do this tomorrow. Bye-bye, and God bless you.